Better Call Saul Season 6 is back with Episode 8 titled Point and Shoot, and we get the answer to what Lalo wanted. This is for Jimmy to go to God's house and, well, point and shoot. However, this episode is filled with twists and turns that we're going to go ahead and discuss in this video. Now, the cold open for this episode was an interesting one where we see some shoes floating in the water. We get to know whose this is and how it got there. We also see Howard's car with some classical music, his wallet, and the wedding ring. This was so sad, and this is not what Howard deserved. It's actually a little bit sad if you think about it, because the character of Howard must be so destroyed about the events that happened in episode 7 that the only escape was to go in this direction. They really ruined the reputation of Howard. Now, the episode quickly jumps where we left off with the characters where Lalo comes down Jimmy and Kim, and this of course is what Lalo wants to send the surprise, this being Jimmy. This is a surprise that Lalo was talking about back in episode 7, and that of course if Lalo sends Jimmy or Kim, they're more likely to open the door, so this is why he sends them. Of course, the big question throughout this is that Jimmy is smart, and in this moment of stress and pain and not knowing what to do next, he sends Kim as a way to protect her. He loves her, and this is seen in this part. Lalo knows that Gus has men in the laundromat, so why does he's gonna think that there's gonna be someone in his house? It just doesn't make sense. Lalo knows that Gus is not gonna be there, so why send someone to his house at all? Lalo knows that if he sends someone to his house, they're gonna focus in the house, allowing the laundromat not to be clean or empty, but to focus on two different things that are happening at once. If he goes directly, then he of course is gonna get captured, and Gus' men are gonna be waiting for him. However, we know that Gus is not going to be there because in the last episode they already know that Lalo is looking for him, and this is when Gus and Mike talk about the plan, which was to go to the safe house. This is something that we see in this episode. The question going from the last episode is what Lalo wants and what is his mission. Now, the way that he's tied makes sense why he thought of it was Ignacio and Lalo, so we get to see that connection to the episode of Breaking Bad. So yes, finally we get to know what Jimmy meant by this in Breaking Bad. The important thing about this is that Lalo doesn't tell them that this is Gus' house, so this makes the episode more interesting. The acting in this episode was awesome, and it was so nice to see how Jimmy and Kim are reacting to this. The acting of Kim, or the actress doing this scene, is just incredible, as she's really panicking and Jimmy's the one that insists on her to go, and this of course we can see that he cares, but in a way we get to see how she feels betrayed by him a little bit, as of course she doesn't want to go and leave Jimmy alone. So we get a lot of who cares and how they care about each other in this scene, and that was one of my favorite part of the episode. Throughout this, Kim is so sad about everything, and you can see how she feels about the plan and everything that's going on, and that moment where she's driving and the way that she doesn't scream, it shows how she wants to protect Jimmy as well, but of course she doesn't know that Lalo already left. In that moment, if she screams to the police, the story could have been different, but of course this is Better Call Saul, so we know that it's going to go in another direction. But this is a moment where we can see how she cares and loves him. Now, Kim arrives to the house with the mission in mind, and also I have to say the cinematography in this episode was amazing. Now, Kim goes to Gus' house and knocking on the door and pulling the gun out. Of course, this is a hint that it was going to happen to her in the show, but before she can pull the trigger, we see Mike behind her. If you remember, he was in another house washing Gus' house, so Mike asks what's going on, and she says that Lalo is going to kill Jimmy, and of course we can see how Kim feels about all of this, which was so nice. Throughout this, Gus watched everything, and I just love the acting of the actress. She said like, hey, if you remember, they had a conversation where they talk about, hey, Mike is gonna look out for them. However, this is not what happened. This is where Mike tells her that everything's gonna be okay, and he goes for Jimmy's apartment. Back at Jimmy's, we see Lalo tying up Jimmy, where in his episode of Breaking Bad, he says like, hey, it was Ignacio that did this. It wasn't me, it was Ignacio. So he goes to the laundromat where Lalo gets there. He kills all of Gus' men. Throughout this whole episode, he's recording this with the camera for Don Eladio, and this where in the basement, Gus kicks the cable that's connected to the lights to cause a blackout, and he used the gun that's stashed away in the forklift. If you remember, this was something that he did, and this is where he shoots Lalo I was not expecting this at all, and this was a nice twist because I was not expecting Lalo to die so early in the season, and it makes me wonder what is going to be the direction of the remaining episodes. Now this we're in complete darkness, Lalo is shot, and he looks at Gus one last time and laugh before dying after everything's over. Mike and his guys clean the scene at Kim's apartment, and they tell Jamie and Kim that Howard came over drunk and ramble about how it was their fault and left. They don't tell that Lalo is dead. So this is why in Breaking Bad he's like, did Lalo send you? So Jamie all this time thinks that Lalo is alive. So the sad part of the episode is that Mike and his men bring Howard's dead body over to the basement lab and bury it underground along with Lalo's body before they bury them. So yes, that theory that Lalo was buried, it was true. So I just enjoy that scene. Now Mike takes Howard's shoes, wallet, and the wedding ring, and this is what he used to make it seem that he drowned. Also, we can see how Mike was a little bit upset that they buried Howard with Lalo as he was the one that killed him. Now, something to note that this is somewhere else and this is not in New Mexico. So they drove all this, the car and everything to another state. So to make it seem that he did this because of the pain that, what happened during episode 7. So that was the episode. It was awesome. I enjoyed everything. I was not expecting Lalo to die so early. We wait so long to see this, but of course the direction of this season is up in the air about what is going to happen next. So yes. Now the interesting about this is how the investigation of the new character that is going to be introduced, how she's going to play out to all of this is going to be really interesting. But I'm so happy that the show is back. Gus also never lied that he killed every Salamanca, so this was, we should trust the word of Gus. The twist of the season, of course, is the death of Lalo, which I wasn't expecting, like I said, but it's something that I welcome because, hey, in what direction they're going to go now, I'm intrigued and I want to know more. Gus is going to be gone for a week as he was shot, and also Mike talks about the doctor, and we know from Breaking Bad, in Jimmy's apartment, Kim and Jimmy are reunited, and the way that he sees everything going to chaos, that hug has so much meaning, and I really enjoy that. Mike is cleaning everything, and the way that Jimmy sees everything that just happened in that last shot of Howard in the fridge that he sees this was really surprising. Now Mike's explaining what's gonna happen next, and I'm thinking that Marion, the new character, is gonna play an FBI agent looking into the investigation of Howard, and I believe that Kim is gonna be the one that says like, hey, I did it, because she's not gonna, I don't know, I think the guilt that we see here is something that's gonna push her to confess to the murder. I don't know. That's just my theory for now. And that is how the episode ends with Lalo being buried. But pretty much what's gonna happen this season, we don't know. We don't know what direction they're gonna take. We don't know what characters they're gonna introduce, as well as what's gonna happen with the character of Jeff that we know that in the Gene timeline. We know there's gonna be an episode focused on Gene, how everything is gonna piece together, what's gonna happen to Gene in the future is something that we all want to know. It's gonna be an awesome 6 episodes. Sadly, I would not cover the next 2 episodes, but I will try my best to do videos in the time that I'm in vacation. But again, I'm excited. I'm so happy that the show is back. And what are your thoughts on this episode? Also, I'm gonna say here that I'm not gonna be uploading the next 2 videos. I'm gonna be in a cruise for the next 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit sad about that. I will try to make a video, but I don't see it likely. But if I do, then hey, I'm proud of myself for doing the impossible. But if I do a video, please subscribe and turn notifications for videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, one.